Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. Which of the following are the Nordic countries? Finland, Netherlands, Norway, Denmark, Sweden. The answer to this is 1, 3, 4 and 5 only. Why? Because Netherlands is not part of the Nordic countries. Instead of Netherlands, it has to be Iceland. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given in this article. So which are the Nordic countries? We have Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark and Ireland. What do we mean by Nordic countries? Nordic is a term that is derived from the local Scandinavian language. Basically, Northern as a word stands for the Northern Islands. What is so special about these particular countries? These countries have similar flags. So when you look into the flags, they are similar in nature. They have a similar pattern when it comes to the flag. They have similar languages and they also have similar cultural traits as well. They are one among the least corrupt in the world and they also have low crime rate as well. They also have the world's most high rated gender equality ratio, world's highest proportion of women in senior leadership position, which is why these countries have gender parity or gender equality when it comes to the social parity. It is this that we have to understand in reference to the first question. Now let's look into the next practice question. The CBI director is to be appointed on the recommendation of a three-member committee consisting of Prime Minister, Home Minister, Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha, Chief Justice of India or a Judge of the Supreme Court, Cabinet Secretary. The answer to this is 1, 3 and 4. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given in this article. So for the appointment of the director of the CBI, we have a three-member committee. It consists of the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice of India and the Leader of Opposition from the Lok Sabha. Also remember, when we look into section 4B of the Delhi Police Establishment Act, it clearly mandates that the tenure of the CBI director should not be less than 2 years. Why is this kept? That is to make sure that there is no political interference and they act independently away from the political interference. In fact, this particular idea was also supported by the Supreme Court of India in one of its ruling called as the Vineet Narayan and others versus the Union of India case. What is the objective of setting up the CBI or the Central Bureau of Investigation? It basically has three important divisions. One is called as the Anti-Corruption Division, second is the Economic Offences Division, third is what is called as the Special Crimes Division. What is this Anti-Corruption Division? This usually probes the corruption cases against the public servant. Then we have what is called as the Economic Offences Division. What is this division all about? This basically looks into the financial malfeasance. Basically, let's say for example the bank fraud or money laundering case or black money operations, so on and so forth. And if there are any issues that are already being investigated by the enforcement director in reference to the money laundering issue, the CBI will not take that particular case as well. Finally, what we have is the Special Crimes Division. What is this Special Crimes Division? Let's say for example there is a murder, or let's say for example there is a crime related to internal security, or let's say espionage or narcotics and banned substances or cheating in reference. In all these cases, what we have is the Special Crimes Division, which looks into that particular case, solves this particular case and ultimately delivers its arguments to the court to ultimately take a decision. So these are the three important divisions when it comes to the Central Bureau of Investigation. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. Model Code of Conduct comes into effect as soon as the election schedule is announced by the Election Commission. Kerala was the first state to adopt a code of conduct for the elections. Social media content by political parties falls under the Model Code of Conduct. Which of the above statements is or correct? The answer to this is 1, 2 and 3. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given in this article. What is this model code of conduct? This is a consensus document. Consensus for what? All the political parties, they have come together, they have decided that we have to follow a document. So this particular document will be used to keep a check of the conduct of all the political parties during the election period. So the code or the model code of conduct kicks in as soon as the election schedule is announced and stays in force as long as the election process is completed. What is the philosophy of introduction of this model code of conduct? When we look into the model code of conduct, we have the parties, we also have the candidates as well, who actually fight when it comes to democratic politics. So what should they criticize? In case they feel a political party is not doing justice to the people, in case they feel there is a political candidate who's won the elections in the previous elections is not done justice to that particular constituency, the criticism should be on the basis of policies and programs collectively, constructively, and this should not take a personal attack in terms of caste, in terms of religion, in terms of that person's reputation. So what are we looking at? We are looking at a model code of conduct so that all these political parties maintain high standards of public morality and ensure a level playing field for all the parties and candidates. Let's say for example there is the government of the day. It's a particular political party. This political party may use the state resources for its own advantages, which is where we get in model code of conduct so that the party in power does not take the advantage of the state machinery, which can be a disadvantage for the opposition political party which is also fighting the elections. So what do we have is a clear cut procedure that has been laid when it comes to the model code of conduct. Also remember, Kerala was the first state when it comes to India which prepared what is called as the code of conduct for the elections. Back in the year 1960, ahead of the assembly elections, all the parties came together. They prepared a draft code that covered most important aspects of electioneering. One, it involved about procession. Two, it involved about political rallies. Three, it also involved the speeches as well, which is why a same model was adapted at the central level, and the election commission decided to emulate the Kerala's example and circulate the draft among the national recognized parties, after which we have been following what is called as the model code of conduct. But do remember, this is not a legally enforceable document. There were political parties which wanted to introduce this into the Representation of the People's Act, but this is not a legally enforceable document. It is the election commission which usually uses moral sanction to get all the political parties and candidates to fall in line. So it is not legally enforceable document, but it is the election commission which requests the political party, asks the political party to follow certain decorum when it comes to the elections. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. 25 years to be the minimum age of contesting elections to the panchayats. Reservation of one-third seats, both member and chairpersons, for SC/ST in panchayats at all the three levels. The legislature of a state can make provisions for reservation of seats in any panchayat or offices of chairperson in the panchayats at any level in favor of backward class of citizens. Which of the above statements is or correct? The answer to this is 3 only. Why? It is not 25 years when it comes to the panchayat, but instead it is 21 years. And also remember, when it comes to the SC/ST, it is not about one-third, it is about the proportion of their population. So as much as they are in that particular locality, in that particular constituency, it should be decided on the basis of proportionality when it comes to the population. But the one-third of the seats that is given here is not in reference to the SC/ST, but one-third seats will have to be respected, will have to be reserved for the women candidates. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given in this article. This article currently goes on to say that when it comes to having reservation for the other backward classes of citizens, yes, the government would be able to make some reservations, but this should not go beyond 50%, says this article. That is what we have to understand in reference to this article. Now let's look into the next practice question. With reference to Li-Fi, recently in the news, which of the following statements is or correct? It uses light as the medium for high-speed data transmission. It is a wireless technology and is several times faster than Wi-Fi. Select the correct answer using the code given below. The answer to this is both 1 and 2. This happens to be a previous year question. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day that we are speaking about is called as the ease of living index. What is this ease of living index? This happens to be an assessment tool. Assessment tool of what? Whether that particular city is livable, what is the quality of life in that particular city, what is that people are experiencing when it comes to the governance, and the impact of various initiatives when it comes to that particular region. So when it comes to ease of living index, it was initiated back in the year 2018. So when we go back to the year 2018, they had the parameters, they had the criteria, they had about 15 evaluation criteria. What are those? Governance, identity and culture, education, health, safety and security, economy, affordable housing, land use planning, public open spaces, transportation and mobility, assured water supply, wastewater management, solid waste management, power and quality of environment. Generally, whether these parameters are met by that particular city and what scoring will be provided to that city will decide what is the ease of living in that particular city. So when we look into the ranking, they have different categorizations. What are those? One is in the million plus category. So the cities are broken down into two different compartments. One is a city which has more than 1 million category. The other is a city which is less than 1 million category. According to this particular category, which is more than 1 million, Bangalore has emerged as the top performer, followed by Pune, Ahmedabad, Chennai, Surat, Navi Mumbai, Coimbatore, Vadodara, Indore and Greater Mumbai. Now, when it comes to that particular city whose population is less than 1 million, Shimla has ranked the highest in the ease of living, followed by Bhubaneswar, Silvassa, Kakinada, Salem, Vellore, Gandhinagar, Gurugram, Davanagere and Tiruchirappalli. The article here further makes a mention of what is called as the Municipal Performance Index. What is this Municipal Performance Index? It examines whether that particular local government is able to provide the quality of life to the people in that locality. So what are the services? Whether they have the finances to provide these services? What are the policy initiatives taken by that municipality? In case technology can be in use, what are the technology parameters they have used? And how is that they are delivering governance to the people in that locality? So it seeks to simplify and evaluate the complexities in local governments and how are they promoting what is called as transparency and accountability when it comes to their executive action. These would be considered, and what we have is the Municipal Performance Index. When we consider the Municipal Performance Index, it is basically about the input. What is that the municipal authorities are able to provide? But when it comes to the ease of living index, it is more about the outcome. What is the issue that is present? Is it addressed? Is there been a transformation in that particular society? Will be taken into picture. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.